Good morning and welcome to the third and final day of the T20 Media Conference. Before we begin the day's proceedings, one or two housekeeping announcements. We have a travel desk outside, so for all our delegates who are leaving today, tomorrow, please connect with them in case you have any queries, in case you have any issues to be resolved. They're just outside this hall. And let me start the day's proceedings by inviting Ambassador Sujan Chinoy, the chair of the T20 core group and the Director General of the Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis to address us. Ambassador Chinoy, will you please?
Good morning, everyone. I'm actually enjoying my coffee there when I was ambushed and asked to say a few words. But once again, as is expected of the mascot, I will not be found wanting in this regard. We actually have 3 more panel discussions today, and therefore I don't want to encroach on the limited time available. But I must say my piece this morning, as I'm expected to. And let me begin by firstly congratulating all of you for your active participation over the last 2 days, particularly the co-chairs who have worked hard in the breakout sessions. And may I emphasize here, as did the Sherpa, that we expect to complete our work of collating the recommendations in the next 2 days. In fact, the earlier, the better. And once these crisp recommendations have come in and are collated, we also hope to complete the finalization of the 0 drafts as well. These will obviously go into the making of the T20 communique. So therefore, as you can see, the timelines are stacked against us, and amidst all the fun and bonhomie and the camaraderie that we are experiencing here in Mumbai, we are also expected to attach a certain urgency to that task. I really don't want to say much about the G20 because you all have G20 oozing out of your ears by now. But let me finish a story that I had started. And I'm now these days into storytelling because this great journey of ours, the T20 journey, I liken it to the Canterbury Tales of the 13th and 14th century, Geoffrey Chaucer's the Canterbury Tales, where a large number of pilgrims set out from the Tabard's Inn in the suburbs of London to go to the St. Becket's Cathedral in Canterbury. And along the way, they have so many tales to tell one another. So we are like those pilgrims with various tales from, different parts of the world. Some of us, like me especially, are like the haberdasher, but there may be many other haberdashers as well. But the key lesson of the Canterbury Tales, as is the key lesson for us, is that we look at each other's stories by giving these stories a certain degree of honor and dignity. And that, I think, is the key message of the Canterbury Tales. And that will be the key message of our T20 pilgrimage, if I may call it that, which will end, as you know, in Mysore. That is where we will meet on the 1st and 2nd of August. But to complete the story that I had started in my initial remarks about my ancestor, who I think quite skillfully and artfully used to introduce to you the fact that the concept of the Indo-Pacific is not new, that India's Act East policy is also not new, and that my ancestor, the 6th generation ancestor, the Venerable Nanji Jekaran Shah, that I introduced to you, actually epitomized that outlook of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But let me also tell you a bit about what happened upon his return. As I told you that he was restored by the British who had arrested him, for they feared that they were being attacked when he had let off, as I told you, the salvo of cannon on board his vessels in salute to the motherland. But the British understood the sentiments and had restored to him his wealth with, again, honor and dignity. He had donated a great deal of that to build a temple. That temple, a Jain Derasar, still stands very proudly in the Jain pilgrimage city of Palitana in Gujarat. Some of you, if you go there, you can visit it and think of me as well. It is called the Nanji Jekaran Shah Chaumukhi Derasar. Since it was built with his money, let me tell you this great Indian wisdom that we're supposed to use in the G20 and T20 context also, that this concept of know your customer, KYC, which is today practiced as an offshoot of the India stack. You all heard about the India stack, which is very relevant to, digital economy, providing a digital public infrastructure at low cost, not only to the people of India, but to the global south as well. This is also not new in India. The Jain Derasars did not accept money without doing a scan of the customer. So they had their own KYC in those days. And it is such a KYC maintained over the years in relation to his donations for the temple that resulted in a book on his life and times in the 1960s, which is a treasured book that I possess. But I'm saying this to you in the hope that you will understand that it is India, with its unique ideas, with its unique capacity to provide a certain moral compass to this world today, that we go about the business of this G20, this T20. And I do hope that India will not only provide vaccines for healthcare, but also a vaccine for the deficit in morals that the world has today. So it is India's wisdom, its ancient civilization, its concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, inclusivity, a people's-oriented approach to things, both within India and overseas, that will help us reach some consensus in this strife-ridden world. So with these few words, once again, please go about your daily business of listening to very erudite and informed conversations on matters of topical interest in the context of the G20, and I'm sure we will have a very successful outcome at the end of this midterm conference that we have organized in Mumbai. My grateful thanks once again to each one of you, and particularly to the Secretariat. Thank you. Namaskar.